At the end of the day, it's not about what you have or even what you've accomplished. It's about what you've done with those accomplishments. It's about who you've lifted up, who you've made better. It's about what you've given back. Denzel Washington. Welcome to Inspire Vision. Our sole purpose is to elevate the lives of others and to inspire you to do the same.
Ros, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Doug.
Hey, I'm excited. And you know what excites me is being able to interview people and talk to people and have conversations with folks from all over the world. And where are you at this point?
Well, 2 years ago, we left England. So originally, I'm from England, grew up just outside of London. I've got a South London accent for anyone who's into accents. And then 2 years ago, my guardian angel, Tristan, said that we were going to leave England and that we were going to travel. And we is my husband, Eddie, and our two sons, who are 19 and 14. So for 2 years, we've been traveling the world, guided by Tristan. We started off in Montenegro, Albania, then we went to Brazil, we've been to Ecuador, we've been to Mexico, stepped over into North America for a bit, came back down, and we're currently in Peru. So we are about nearly 4 kilometers above sea level at the moment.
Wow.
I love high altitude, just outside a town called Cusco. So we're in Peru just at the moment.
Okay, that's cool. So here's my question that I'd love for you to share with the audience. You know, what I find is there's always a journey in people's lives that get them to the point where we're on this podcast together talking about things. I'd love for you to share with the audience your journey. And just to let the audience know, this is going to be a little bit off of a topic that normally I do on the podcast, but I'm so fascinated by what you have to say. And I have some similar thoughts about some of the things. And so anyway, can you share with the audience kind of who you are, what is your journey, and how did you get to this point in your life where you're doing what you're doing?
Oh, wonderful. So I am a mum to 2 boys. I'm a wife. I grew up in a very normal suburb just outside of London. My parents separated when I was quite young. I'm the eldest of 3. And my first memories of angels. I can remember laying in my little crib in my bedroom and looking up and seeing angels. And my connection with angels continued throughout all of my childhood. Really happy times spent in nature. I was trained up by angels as I slept and through experiences that I had. And it was at age 11 that I realized that not everybody could see what I could see and knew what I knew. And that was a very challenging point in my life because it coincided with adolescence and with going to a big new school. And I was highly susceptible to peer group pressure. I wanted to be like everybody else. I wanted to fit in. I wanted to find my group, and communicating with angels was not part of that. It made me stand out. It made me different. And I wasn't confident enough to be that when I was that age. So I went through adolescence and had various different experiences growing up. And it wasn't until I had my first son, so this is a real big gap of time, when I was 31, I had my first son. And that is when my communication with the angels started again. Tristan, who is my guardian angel, was able to connect with me through being completely vulnerable at a time of having given birth to my son. We wrote our first book together. And then my professional work really evolved from there. I was born with a gift, but it didn't feel like it for a very long time. It was very challenging. And part of my journey was being born as someone who had an ability, but didn't really have the confidence to share it, didn't have the confidence to be themselves and talk about what their experience of life was. I'd always wanted to help other people. That was my motivation. That's what got me outside of my lack of confidence. I wanted to teach originally, but at school I didn't get the grades. I was a very rebellious teenager, actually. Got into a lot of trouble with Tristan pushed to the sidelines. And my relationship with Tristan has helped me personally, helps my family, and he gave me the method which I teach others, which is how to channel and communicate with the guardian angels themselves. Because for such a long time I used to do that for people. People would come to me, can you connect me with my guardian angel? Can I have a reading? Can you channel my guardian angel? And it just became overwhelming and an impossible task. And I actually nearly completely gave up, because I thought, I can't do this. It's so many people in the world. How can I possibly connect with all of their guardian angels and help all of them with the messages that the angels want to communicate? And that coincided with the personal development part of me, which was about trying to do everything for other people all of the time and not taking the time to teach people how to do things themselves. So 3 years ago, it was lockdown, COVID. It was such a turning point. My husband had a business in events. He used to help people to set up big IT things in events. There were no events. His business nosedived. And mine did a very similar thing, because I wasn't in a position where I had tools that could help people to help themselves. And we nearly lost our home. We did lose our home, actually. We had to put all of our belongings in a trailer, like a kind of container, shipping container.
Yeah.
We had to move in with my mum. It was humbling, humiliating, beyond words. And through my vulnerability again, that was where Tristan was able to connect with me. And he said, you've got to do what you're here to do. And I'm going to help you to do it, finally. And that's where the Channel of Clarity method came in. And since then, we've been traveling the world as a family, and I have a really wonderful business where I'm able to support people to channel their own guardian angels, and it supports us as a family. So that's quite a lot.
So there you go.
Of my story.
So I'm curious, religious background, theological background at all?
Not at all religious, no. Not at all religious. And also not from a family of spiritual people. Like, I don't know whether you read Harry Potter or whether this will resonate with your audience, but Harry Potter grew up in a family of muggles, non-magic people, and he just didn't understand who he was, and he was weird and he was different until he found his people. And it was very similar for me. There was no like spiritual grandma, no one to guide me and say, oh, right, great, you've got this gift, this is fantastic. And no religion. My family are actually, one side of my family is from Italy, but there was no religion, nothing at all, no spirituality. Yeah, absolutely an absence of both.
Okay, and I come from a very strong theological background, so we're going to have an interesting discussion here. And first of all, let me state, I believe in guardian angels. Theologically, I really believe that we have guardian angels that watch over us, that take care of us, and I believe that that's kind of part of the assignment that they have once they pass on in this life, to be able to be our guardian angels and to help us in many ways. But I will say that and I've known a few people. I've known a few people that literally have been able to see people who have passed on, and whether they were their guardian angels or whether they're just there to communicate love and so forth. So I believe that that can happen. Okay. So from a standpoint of guardian angels, though, and one of the questions I want to ask right up front is that so often I have seen some of these elements, which, and believe me, I understand you have a gift that most people don't have. Okay. So often we tend to rely on others to tell us what to do. And I see that religiously. I see that when we start talking about astrology to some degree, numerology, with guardian angels. And as you're talking, you're sharing that, you have your guardian angel that's kind of telling you what to do. How do we reconcile the fact that, you know what, we have that personal responsibility to move forward in our lives. And I think so often people tend to rely on external areas to help them make decisions rather than taking the personal responsibility to really make those decisions and learn from their mistakes as well as from their successes. So with that long comment, what is it? How do people find their guardian angel? Because, for instance, I've never seen my guardian angel. I believe I have one. When I gain insights and inspiration, I'm not sure that's coming from the guardian angel. It might be from a higher power that I believe in. So how do you help people, number one, to understand how to really start to listen to their guardian angel, how to find them and how to listen, but secondarily, not take away their agency to where they are relying wholly on something else to tell them what to do rather than going through the life experiences that they need to go through?
Yeah, such a great question, and something that I agree with completely. So first of all, your relationship with your guardian angel is a collaborative experience. Tristan says you're here to live life together with your guardian angel. It's teamwork. They are here to guide you. They are here to support you. They are here to help you. They are not here to do things for you or to tell you to do things. They do not remove your, as you say, agency. They want to teach you through your relationship with them to trust yourself. And I agree that in this world, there are so many who wish to delegate responsibility to others, to institutions, to authority figures, however you may wish to identify those. And there's a certain amount of delegation of responsibility. It means that perhaps when you do that, you can just say, well, I was doing as I was told, or I think someone knows better than me. It's a very disempowering relationship. Your guardian angel is with you to guide you and to help you through your relationship of trust that you build with them and that you start with yourself. So in terms of connection, the process that Tristan teaches to help people to connect with their guardian angel so that they can communicate with them starts with the awakening of the heart center. Now, you may have heard people speak about this, the heart center, how it's important that the heart center is open. But saying to someone you need to open your heart to something which is completely unknown to you is really the completely wrong approach. And it's guaranteed to fail. Because unless you have trust, the whole process stalls. But you can't tell someone to have trust. You can't say, trust me. You have to demonstrate trust. Trust has to be earned. And trust takes time, particularly when someone enters into a relationship from a place of, as all humans, we've been let down. We've been maybe taken advantage of, or we've put our faith in people and establishments only for that faith to have been destroyed. And so there's tremendous resistance that comes to establishing a new unseen relationship, which people with all their heart want to believe to be true. I have so many people that come to me that have had negative experiences spiritually, negative experiences in terms of programs that they've entered into, promises that have been made and that haven't been delivered upon. People are heartbroken. I've had people come and say, I don't know if my heart can take another hit. This feels like it's my last chance to trust in my own ability to make good choices and to trust my guardian angel, something that I cannot see, an energy which, how can I believe is here just for me to help me?
Well,
and so that trust.
As we think about the word angels, we think of that higher power, that godliness to some degree, not quite, but certainly that higher element of spirituality and so forth. And many people talk about the spirits, inspiring them to do this. And again, you're talking about guardian angels with your experience. And what I find is that, certain people end up with a certain gift, and you experience that. And as you said, you kind of tried to push that away for many years in your life and finally gave up and started listening. But as we think about how to live our lives, how to find our purpose, how to seek to understand what it is that we're here to do in this life, on this earth, during mortality, I think that it's essential, at least in my belief, that we understand that there is that higher power that's there to give us that inspiration, that guidance. And if we're able to tap into that, depending on our experiences with that, that can be of great value. So I'm going to go back to, how on earth do you help people to tap in to their guardian angel?
Well, the first thing is that it came from Tristan. So I always knew how to communicate with angels, and I always knew how to communicate with Tristan, but I didn't learn it. And that's where the stumbling block was for me, because you can't teach someone something that you just know how to do. It's impossible. And I really struggled with that. But Tristan gave the method, and it's a very practical process which takes you all the way from where you are, wherever you are, whoever you are, whatever your experience is, all the way to verbally channeling. And everyone that I take through the program verbally channels, which means they communicate with their guardian angel. And this is really significant. In a way that means they speak out, not speaking in tongues, not being weird, not doing odd mannerisms or like you've been kind of possessed. That's something that people really concern themselves with, quite rightly so, when it comes to connecting with an energy which is unseen. And your guardian angel is the pure source of wisdom, here with you in this lifetime to guide you. But through a process, step by step, Tristan teaches you how to verbally channel, which means when you verbally channel, you can ask any question of your guardian angel that matters to you. And people come because they want to learn to channel for so many different reasons. Funny story, my husband is actually just learning to verbally channel. I mean, I've been married to Eddie for like 23 years this year. And he's just at that point. He knows who his guardian angel is, and he's always been interested in doing it, but we've never quite got round to it. It makes me laugh. It's a bit like living with a builder, I think, sometimes. People complain. You never get any work done in your own house. It's always other people who get the benefit. And because we've been busy and had children and, we work, there's never been the time. But now it is the time. And he said something like, unfortunately, I have endless questions for Tristan, and Ros doesn't want to spend every waking hour answering them. So he's motivated to learn to channel because he is, going back to something you said about astrology, fascinated by astrology. And Tristan said something about a year or so ago about a system which relates to celestial bodies, which isn't currently known. And that was enough to fire him up. He's like, right, I've got to learn to do this. You haven't got the time, Ros. Tristan is busy doing other things as well. I want to do this for myself. So there needs to be a motivation to do it, because you can use this ability to get trustworthy answers to any question. You can find the truth.
All right, so here's my question, because you talk about channeling. And when I hear that word, I immediately think of going to someone and they're going to channel into the spirits and tell me what that spirit is trying to tell me. That's not what you're doing, right?
No. Channeling is communicating. So the action of channeling is having a connection between you, and you can channel spirits, you can channel many different energies. Channeling your guardian angel through the channel of clarity, which Tristan teaches, which is a secure and established channel of communication only between you and your guardian angel, means that you communicate. You ask a question, you receive an answer, and you are taught to verbalize that answer in a way that you can record. So you learn to speak out what your guardian angel says, their answer. Which means, and the reason I teach that is because when you learn to channel your guardian angel, you do not influence the information that comes through. That's point one. And the second point is that you are given guidance, which you then go and apply to your life. It's not wishy-washy, vague stuff which is kind of speaking in confusing ways that's difficult to understand. I teach people how to ask questions, and then they get the answers, which, and this is what's important about channeling, which you can apply to your life. Which
Okay.
gives you the validation and the proof that is so absent from so many different modalities.
And I like the word communicating, and I like the fact that you kind of correlated that with communication. So, one of my personal experiences and what I've been taught and understood through my years is, as I think about that higher power and seeking what I would call the spirit to be able to inspire me along certain ways, what I have discovered, and I think most people who have done that understand this, that oftentimes we gain that inspiration, we apply it, and wow, it doesn't work. It puts us in the wrong direction. And what I have found is that part of the whole process is understanding how to listen and ultimately understanding whether or not it's true communication from the higher power, from your guardian angel, or from God, or whether or not it's something that we have created in our minds that we think, and then we go and do it and find, whoops, that was not right. So how do you help people? And do you find that that's a similar experience with the people that you help?
Oh, definitely. I think until you learn the difference between what an idea and a thought that you have that feels good to you, until you learn the difference between like what your ego is telling you, until you learn the difference between perhaps something that you want to do and you're kind of justify it to yourself, and you address the difference, then you're always going to have that uncertainty. There's always going to be that second guessing. There's always going to be that doubt. And that's what a lot of people find themselves in a spiral of. You think about, people are often very open. They know the universe, if you want to use that word, is trying to communicate. You see symbols, you see signs, you see numbers. It's an exciting kind of like breadcrumbing towards trying to get the right answer and find out whether this is indeed the right idea or the right act or the right thing that you should be doing. And it undermines the whole process. And learning to differentiate, learning how it feels, having the knowing of the connection with your guardian angel is absolutely crucial. And that's a big part of, slowly through these 12 steps, what people learn to do. So there's no question. So you don't make mistakes.
Yeah.
And the other thing I would say, sorry, Doug, just to finish that point, the other thing I would say is that your guardian angel doesn't always give you convenient guidance. So I'll give you a little example. We're traveling the world as a family, and Tristan has certain places that he's guiding us to visit. And I ask questions about where we should go, what we should do, the reasons why, and he will give answers to that and also supplementary answers around that. We wanted to visit one particular destination. So my sons love jiu-jitsu. They love jiu-jitsu. And one of the great things about traveling the world is that if you've got an interest or a passion like that, then you can go to certain places and you can train in different gyms. And it's an incredible aspect of what they are learning to do.
Right.
They want to go to one country in particular, one place in particular where there's a particular jiu-jitsu gym that they really want to train at. And we can't go there because of guidance that Tristan has provided. Now, that's not convenient because I want more than anything in the world to say to my boys, let's do it. That place you want to go, that experience you want to have, let's do it. But it's not appropriate for us to go there for many different reasons. And that inconvenient guidance, that you ask a question because you want to know an answer, but you don't always get the answer that you want, that is another really important aspect of guardian angel communication. They're not just going to tell you what you want to hear. They're not just going to give you what you want. They're supporting you. They're helping you to make the right choices. They're helping you to accomplish your purpose, to move forward in positive ways. And just as you said, in terms of direction, that isn't always what you're wanting to be told, what you want the answer to be. Does that make sense?
Well, it does. And, one of the questions that comes to my mind, I am a behavioral analyst, and among other things that I do. And what I find interesting is that as you start to look at people who are right brain versus left brain, the right brain people tend to be more creative, more spiritually focused, and so forth. Have you found that as you work with people that they tend to fit into a personality pattern that allows them greater access and ability to tap into that higher power of their guardian angel? Or do you
No,
find that's not the case?
no, it's a really interesting question. So part of what Tristan teaches is a process which he calls allowing. Within the process of learning how to communicate with your guardian angel, you learn a process called allowing, and you establish a very clear tone, reference, visual as to what is completely safe to you. And through that allowing, you are able to awaken heart center, but ultimately communicate, because you are in the driving seat. You set the terms. You're in control of the situation. I don't mean holding on and controlling and having attachment, but you are able to feel safe because you are setting the terms. And that is a really important part of the process. But in part 2 of the answer to your question, I have people come to me who are from like really academic backgrounds, who are scientists, people who come from, I teach people to communicate with their guardian angel, channel their guardian angel, who are ER doctors, who are scientists working in like incredible labs doing the most amazing cutting edge like research. I have also mums and grandfathers, and there's no type. The thing they all have in common is they want to know the truth. They have a passion and an interest, and they want answers, and they really want to get to the truth of the topic, the area of life that they're interested in. For some people, it's their health. For some people, it is, clinical research. For some people, it is how I can best help. It's amazing how many people in the medical world have started to reach out over the last couple of years.
So different reasons why. Different reasons why.
Yeah, but motivated. It's like, I know there's more. I know that there's more information that is hidden from us, that we don't know, that we don't have access to. And I want to communicate with my guardian angel so that I can understand that. I can find out, I can discover the truth, and I can apply that. So they're passionate, and that's exactly what your guardian angel can help you to do. It's just jaw-dropping in terms of what's possible and in terms of what people are doing with this ability.
And so, you kind of skirt around what you've been taught and what your guardian angel teaches is the methodology to get in touch with and discover and communicate with your guardian angel. But I'm going to ask you, help me. How do I find my guardian angel? How do I know that he or she is talking to me? Number one. And number two, if I really have that desire, how do I discover my guardian angel and start that type of communication?
Yeah. So it's a great question. The first step of the method that Tristan teaches is called Awakening Heart Center. It's practical as well as energetic. And it begins by putting your hand on your heart center. So if you can imagine, or if you can practice it, put your thumb under the bottom of your collarbone and your first finger under the other side of your collarbone. Under that kind of lovely cupped palm will be your heart center. And Tristan starts by inviting you to say to yourself with feeling, I love you. I accept you for all that you are. I love you unconditionally. And for that process to begin that connection, reconnection with yourself, with love for yourself, with that connection with who you are, who you truly are, that first step of connecting in with you, accepting yourself, appreciating yourself, acknowledging yourself is the beginning of the journey of the channel of clarity. In terms of knowing your guardian angel, they feel, to begin with, because they've been with you for your whole life, they're very familiar in a way that makes it difficult to differentiate them from yourself to begin with. Because they've been with you ever since you were conceived. The moment of conception is when your guardian angel connects with you. And even if humans aren't physically born, they have a guardian angel with them from the moment of conception. And so that familiarity is something which is comforting, but also creates a feeling of, well, I need to find that difference. Connecting with your guardian angel is something that might be helpful to you in terms of thinking about their role and also what they look like. Their role is to help you to fulfill your purpose. That's your guardian angel's role. They hold the energy of all of your life purpose strengths, and they're with you to help you to fulfill your purpose. And I'll add on the extra piece, which is important for you to acknowledge, because some people find that very difficult to accept, to understand, as this divine angelic being. Why? Why are you with me? To help me? Little old me, who's not really that special, doesn't feel as though they've got anything remarkable to offer to the world, but has. And your guardian angel is with you to help you to fulfill your purpose so that you can contribute positively to the expansion of the universe. We're all here to make a meaningful contribution. We're all here and that's what your guardian angel is, here to help you to do. And in terms of what they look like, angels are often depicted in a very personified form. When you think about angels, you think about Archangel Michael very often, a really kind of handsome, muscular, slightly long brown-haired man with wings and a sword and a shield. And that personification is helpful in the sense of creating connection, because when we have a reference to what something that we don't see looks like, and it's something that's familiar to us, then it helps with that relationship. Your guardian angel, and all of the angels, are energetic beings. Your guardian angel has never been physical. Your guardian angel is not a loved one. You can have loved ones with you who are guiding you and supporting you through your life, but they are not your guardian angels. Your guardian angel is concentric bands of light, and each band relates to an area of your life. Each band's vibrational frequency is a color, which has a unique meaning to you. And when you connect with your guardian angel, you begin to become aware of your life purpose strengths, the things that you might consider in some cases just to be the way you are. But when you understand and have confidence in what they are and how you can express them in your life in order to fulfill your purpose, they take on an entirely new meaning. So does that answer the question?
What I have found interesting is I've studied different religions. Being here in Thailand right now, I've been fascinated by Buddhism, and I happen to have a strong Christian belief and background. But one of the things I find as I've gotten into meditation and studied with different meditation specialists, talking about the quantum field and all of that, and as I look at all of that, I recognize, at least I believe personally, that there is an emanation of light that is available to all of us, that comes from God, that comes from that higher being, that comes from source for people that happen to believe that way. And that light is there to guide us, to direct us. And I think that what I found is that people, based on their experience, call that different things. And so my gut feeling, and it's just my opinion here, is that as you're talking about that, and as I'm listening and just really resonating with what you're saying, what comes to my mind for me, and just for me, is, you know what, that is the light that emanates from God. And you're calling it a guardian angel. I'm referring to it as an eternal light and gift from God that's coming. But the bottom line is, and what I love what you said is that part of the whole challenge is to be able to understand that within you, that guardian angel, that divine light, whatever you want to call it, exists. And as you learn to listen and understand that it's there to as a gift to guide us, and truly, I believe the way you do, that we all have a purpose. There's a reason why we're here. And there's many reasons why we're here, but I really believe one of the key ones is that we have a purpose in some way to not only affect our own lives, but to touch the lives of others.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. The source is a word which is often used. The central light in the middle of a guardian angel and the central light in the middle of the archangels, the central light that is your heart center light, they're all connected. They all come from source. They're what connects us all.
So any stories that you can share with the audience as far as how you've worked with someone who was really struggling in their life, and by helping them to understand and by them taking the ability to really tap into that inner source, that guardian angel, that inner light, that it literally has changed their life, and you've been able to observe that?
Yeah, I mean, as you're speaking, there's lots of different people that come to mind, people that have found their purpose, which has led them to changing their career paths, their health, navigating health challenges, knowing what is the right thing for them to be doing. But the one that stays in my heart all of the time is a wonderful guy. And he found love, a meaningful partnership, a life partnership in his later years when he really didn't believe that it was possible. Because, health is, of course, is like the priority. And after that, you can have all the money in the world. You can have all the businesses, you can have all the clothes and cars and whatever else. But it's sharing it with someone that you love. It's having a meaningful relationship. I think that is the most powerful experience that we can have here in this lifetime. And through channeling his guardian angel, one of the steps that we take in a Channel of Clarity method is creating the story of your life. So it's in module 10, I think, out of 12 modules. And when you first introduce this to people and you say, right, I want you to think about something that you really want to create with your guardian angel, something that matters to you, something that's important to you, and to form a picture of that, just a snapshot, a moment. It's not about manifesting some real long, complicated situation. It's just like the essence of what you really want, and ask your guardian angel to help you to create that. And every time I take someone through the mental program, we do the same thing. And it's like pretend. It's like, oh yeah, okay, this would be a fun little thing to do. But these outcomes become reality because you're telling your guardian angel what's in your heart, the essence of what you truly want. And this lovely guy unexpectedly met the love of his life in his later years, and they lived together and they traveled together and they appreciate each other because they were looking for each other for their whole lives. And it's all through allowing, which is understanding what's completely safe to you, which is what you are open to receive through communicating with your guardian angel. That can't be contained. And so it spreads into other areas of life and it brings to you the relationship that you want. So that's the one that stands out the most. When all hope was lost, it was laughable to him. It's like, really? Like now? Like no? And he's now living with him, traveling. They go on cruises. It's all very glamorous. So that's the story that for me, that's the most. There's other, maybe more impressive stories that I could share, but that's the one that I always turn. That's the most important one to me.
Well, and what I find interesting is that when we listen, and I've personally experienced this, that when we actually take the time to listen, and then follow that guidance, we start to experience amazing things in our lives. And I think that is such an important message for people to understand, that as they seek that inner light, as they seek that guardian angel in their life, that guidance that is there from source, that literally, as they learn to listen, that they're going to experience a different type of life. So as we close, and time has gone by so fast, but as we close,
Yes.
what would be that final message that you'd like to share with the audience?
Yeah, thank you. I mean, your guardian angel is with you to help you to fulfill your purpose. And if you're someone who wants truth, if you're someone who wants trustworthy answers, if you want to stop struggling and trying to do everything on your own and live life with a guide who loves you and wants to help you and exists only for you, then it isn't such a great reach. I'm helping people now more than ever that you would never suspect to be the types of people that would be interested in communicating with their guardian angels. And if you remove the guardian angel component from the thought that you can access trustworthy answers and guidance and find the truth to what truly matters to you, then it becomes a much more real life example of what's possible for you. And there are people in all different fields, all different ages, all different situations in life that are accessing this truth, and it is there for you.
Wonderful, wonderful. Well, Ros, thank you so much. This has been a fascinating discussion, and like I say, I find that we all use, based on our perceptions, based on our experiences, on our background, we all use different words, and I think what people don't understand is that as people talk about different things and use words to describe, that we're all talking about the same thing. We're all talking about the same thing. It's just that we are using different words based on our experience. And so what you've talked about today, as far as being able to tap into that inner light, and what you refer to as that guardian angel, and to be able to learn to listen, to communicate and understand, I know personally that it changes lives. And so thank you so much for being on the show and being willing to be transparent and share.
You're so welcome, Doug. It's an absolute pleasure and an honor. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And folks, thanks for listening. I hope this has been meaningful for you and kind of inspirational, and it causes you to develop a greater sense of curiosity about your own life and how you can tap in to that guardian angel. So anyway, this is Dr. Doug saying thanks for listening. Hope you'll join us again soon, and namaste.